the universal law that controls your life. You know what's amazing? Every single day, whether you realize it or not, you are obeying a law that doesn't care where you were born, how much money you make, or what kind of past you've had. It's not written in any book. And yet, it governs every result, every feeling, every direction your life takes. It's the universal law of cause and effect, the law that says whatever you put out comes back. Now, you might say, yeah, I've heard that before, but hearing it and living it are two different universes, because most people drift through life thinking things happen to them. They don't. Things happen because of them. If your relationships are filled with tension, it's not random. If your body is out of energy, it's not bad luck. If your dreams feel distant, it's not fate working against you. It's the result of tiny, invisible causes, your daily thoughts, your patterns, your standards. You see, life is not about what you want, it's about what you create. And creation starts with energy. When you live in a state of gratitude, of certainty, of faith, your actions shift. You attract opportunities you didn't even see before. You speak differently, you walk differently, and people feel it. But when you live in fear, doubt, or resentment, you push those same opportunities away. Not because the universe punishes you, but because the law of cause and effect rewards alignment. Whatever you feed grows. Feed fear and it multiplies. Feed belief and it explodes into momentum. So here's the real question: what kind of causes are you planting every day? Because you can't plant weeds and expect roses. You can't speak limitation and expect abundance. You can't surround yourself with mediocrity and expect greatness. You have to become the cause of your own destiny. When you raise your standard, your life rises with it. When you decide, truly decide, that you're done settling, life moves in your favor. That's not magic. That's alignment with universal law. Here's the truth: you are not broken. You are not unlucky. You've simply been following an unconscious law without understanding its power. But today you awaken to it. From this moment on, remind yourself, every thought I think is a seed. Every word I speak is an instruction. Every emotion I nurture is a magnet pulling my future toward me. You are the architect. You are the cause. And the law of life, will always deliver the effect. So choose power. Choose action. And watch how the universe bends itself to your decision. Because once you live by this law consciously, you stop surviving and you start creating. You are the cause, life is the effect. Most people move through their lives believing that the events they experience are random, accidental, or the result of luck. They think that life happens to them, when in reality, life happens because of them. Every thought, every belief, every decision, every hesitation is like a pebble dropped into the still water of existence. It sends ripples outward that eventually return as the results you call your life. You are not separate from what happens around you. You are the source code, the generator, the first domino that begins the chain reaction. When you truly grasp this, you stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstance and start realizing you are the architect of experience. The universal law of cause and effect doesn't discriminate. It doesn't pick favorites. It simply mirrors back to you what you project into it. You can't think scarcity, speak doubt, and act hesitantly, then expect abundance, confidence, and progress. The outer world bends itself to the inner command. The problem is most people are issuing commands unconsciously. They're broadcasting fear, anger, and limitation without even knowing it. They react instead of create, complain instead of choose, survive instead of lead. Think about it. Every area of your life is an effect. Your health is the effect of how you've treated your body, what you've fed it, how you've moved it, how you've rested it. Your relationships are the effect of what you've given, what you've tolerated, what you've communicated, and what you've ignored. Your career is the effect of your standards, your effort, your consistency, your ability to grow through discomfort. None of these things just happen. They respond to causes. Causes you generate daily through your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, and your energy. But here's the catch: being the cause doesn't mean controlling every detail of life. It means taking ownership of your response. You can't always choose the weather, the economy, or the actions of others, but you can always choose your meaning, your energy, and your next move. That choice is the cause that reshapes the effect. Most people hand over their power because they confuse reaction with reality. They say, I'm angry because he did that, or I'm frustrated because this didn't work out. What they're really saying is, I've given my inner world to the outer one. The moment you reclaim responsibility for how you think and feel, you reclaim creation itself. Everything you experience begins with a thought. That thought produces a feeling. That feeling drives behavior. That behavior produces results. It's a loop and unbreakable law. So if you want to change the result, you can't just attack the surface. You must go back to the root, to the cause. You're thinking in your state of being. Imagine you're holding a seed. You plant it, water it, and soon a tree begins to grow. You wouldn't plant an apple seed and expect oranges. Yet, that's exactly what people do with their thoughts. They plant seeds of fear, jealousy, doubt, and then they're shocked when life gives them pain, stagnation, and loss. To live as the cause means to awaken to your creative power. It means to understand that your inner dialogue is the command center of your destiny. When you say, I can't, you issue an order to your subconscious to shut down possibility. When you say, I will, you ignite new pathways of action and focus. Words are not empty sounds, they are frequencies, and frequencies create movement. The universe doesn't respond to your wishes, it responds to your vibration, to the energy behind your intentions. You can't fake energy. You can't pretend confidence when deep down you're vibrating with fear. You must become the cause by embodying the state of the effect you want to experience. Let's make this real. If you want more love, be love. Don't wait for someone to show up and give it to you. Become the source. When you radiate love, it circles back through people, opportunities, and moments that reflect it. If you want success, stop asking for permission, create momentum. Success doesn't come to the deserving, it comes to the decisive. Every decision sends a signal to the universe about what you believe you're worth. Most people delay decisions because they fear the effect, not realizing the delay is the cause. Indecision is still a decision to stay the same. Life doesn't reward hesitation, it rewards alignment. When you're in alignment with your purpose, your energy sharpens, your focus strengthens, and your confidence expands. You move differently, speak differently, and others can feel it. That's because the cause within you has become intentional. The effect can't help but match it. It's the law. It's not personal, but it is powerful. When you live reactively, life feels chaotic, unfair, unpredictable. When you live as the cause, it feels directed, empowering, inevitable. Think about people who achieve extraordinary things. They're not luckier, they're not smarter, they're not blessed by chance. They simply operate from cause. They decide what they want, align their focus, discipline their mind, and act with relentless consistency. The world responds to their certainty. The law works for everyone, but few people use it consciously. Most are sending mixed signals, wanting one thing while believing another. They say, I want freedom, but they think, I'm stuck. They say, I want abundance, but they feel, I never have enough. The universe doesn't listen to your words, it listens to your dominant vibration. Becoming the cause is about internal alignment, your thoughts, emotions, and actions pointing in the same direction. When you achieve that harmony, your outer world has no choice but to reflect it. Every invention, every revolution, every breakthrough started because someone refused to wait for circumstances to change. They became the cause of change itself. They stopped asking, why is this happening? And started asking, what can I create from this? That question shifts you from victim to visionary. And make no mistake, this is not about denial. It's not pretending everything is perfect. It's about understanding that even your pain, your setbacks, your failures are raw material for creation. When you realize you are the cause, you no longer see problems, you see feedback. Life is constantly teaching you how your inner world is manifesting externally. If something isn't working, that's the effect signaling you to adjust the cause. You learn, you adapt, you grow. That's evolution in motion. When you own your role as the cause, you gain freedom. Because if you are the cause, then nothing outside of you truly controls you. No event, no person, no history has the power to define your destiny. The moment you decide differently, act differently, believe differently, the effects begin to shift. It might not be instant, but it's inevitable. That's the power of law. It never fails, it only follows. You can't outsmart it, you can't bypass it, but you can master it. You do that by mastering yourself, your focus, your energy, your emotions, your mindset. Life isn't testing you, it's reflecting you. Every experience is a mirror showing you what kind of cause you've been being. The beauty of this understanding is that it gives you total control of your growth. You don't need to wait for luck, permission, or the perfect moment. You are the moment. The cause already exists within you. Everything you dream of, the love, the success, the peace, the fulfillment, it's all in effect waiting for a cause. The moment you align your mind, heart, and actions with that vision, you activate the law. The process is already unfolding the instant you choose to become intentional. That's why the most powerful shift you'll ever make is the decision to stop living by reaction and start living by design. Once you see yourself as the cause, life begins to organize itself around your clarity. Energy flows where focus goes. This truth is simple, but it governs everything you create, everything you experience, and everything you become. The direction of your focus determines the direction of your energy, and the direction of your energy determines the direction of your life. Wherever your attention goes, your energy follows, and that energy grows into form, into thoughts, emotions, behaviors, habits, and ultimately into results. Most people don't lose energy because life is hard. They lose it because they're scattered. Their focus is fractured. They pour attention into distractions, fears, doubts, and things they can't control. Then they wonder why they feel drained, stuck, or powerless. Focus is not just a mental act, it's a creative force. When you focus on something with emotion, you give it life, you amplify it. If you focus on what's missing, you expand the feeling of lack. If you focus on what's possible, you expand the field of opportunity. Your focus is like a magnifying glass. Whatever you hold it over catches fire. The problem is most people are burning energy on what they don't want. They think about the problem, talk about the problem, and replay the problem in their minds until it becomes their dominant vibration. Then naturally more of the same shows up. It's not magic, it's momentum. Energy builds where focus stays. You've probably noticed that when you're passionate about something, everything seems to move faster. You feel alive, sharp, unstoppable. That's not coincidence, that's alignment. Your mind and your energy are united in one direction. But when you're uncertain, fearful, or scattered, everything slows down. You hesitate, you second guess, and the energy leaks out through indecision. Focus is the container that holds your power. Without it, your potential diffuses into the noise of life. With it, you become a laser, precise, powerful, and capable of cutting through any obstacle. Every goal you've ever achieved, every success you've ever experienced, came because at some point you decided to focus. You stopped letting your attention wander, and you directed it towards something meaningful. And the moment you did, life began to organize itself around that focus. Opportunities appeared. Ideas flowed. People showed up. That's because focus acts as a signal. It tells the universe what to deliver. If your signal is clear and consistent, the response is equally powerful. If your signal keeps changing, the results keep stalling. Most people don't fail because they lack potential. They fail because they keep changing their focus before the energy has time to create form. Energy flows to what feels real to you. This is why visualization, gratitude, and intention work. They train your mind to focus on the reality you want, not the one you fear. But focus isn't about forcing positive thoughts. It's about discipline. It's about mastering where your mind goes when things get uncomfortable. When challenges appear, your focus will either amplify the problem or amplify your resourcefulness. Both are available in every moment. The one that grows is the one you feed with attention. Your emotions are the compass that shows where your focus is. When you feel anxious, frustrated, or unmotivated, it's not random. It's feedback. It's your inner system telling you that your focus has drifted towards something disempowering. When you feel inspired, grateful, or alive, it means your focus is aligned with growth and possibility. This feedback is constant. The key is to become conscious of it. Don't fight negative emotions. Trace them back to their source. Ask yourself, where is my focus right now? The moment you shift your focus, your energy changes, and so does your state. Imagine two people facing the same challenge. One focuses on everything that could go wrong, how unfair it is, how tired they are. Their energy collapses, their creativity shuts down, and they feel powerless. The other person focuses on what they can control, what they can learn, how they can grow. Their energy expands, new ideas emerge, and they feel alive. Same situation, completely different energy. The difference isn't luck, it's focus. Life is neutral until you give it meaning, and meaning comes from focus. The quality of your life is the quality of what you consistently focus on. If you focus on problems, you'll live in a world of problems. If you focus on possibilities, you'll live in a world of solutions. Both worlds exist simultaneously, but your experience depends on which one you choose to energize. This isn't about denying reality. It's about choosing which part of reality you want to grow. Every great leader, every innovator, every visionary understood this. They didn't waste energy complaining about circumstances. They directed focus toward creation. They mastered the art of selective attention, ignoring what didn't serve their vision and magnifying what did. Focus is not just what you look at, it's what you see. You can look at the same situation through the lens of limitation or the lens of opportunity. The moment you change the lens, the picture changes. When you focus on what's missing, you program your mind to see scarcity. When you focus on what's available, you train it to see abundance. The human mind is wired to find whatever it looks for. Focus is the instruction manual for your reality. Whatever command you give it consciously or unconsciously, it fulfills. Energy doesn't discriminate. It doesn't decide what's good or bad. It simply follows your attention. That's why people often manifest exactly what they fear. They put emotional energy into imagining failure, rejection, loss, and the universe responds accordingly. Fear is still focus, and focus is still power. The challenge is to redirect that power intentionally. Instead of feeding fear, feed faith. Instead of obsessing over what might go wrong, channel energy into what you'll do right. You can't eliminate fear, but you can starve it by refusing to give it focus. Every day you wake up with a finite amount of mental energy. The way you allocate that energy determines your results. Most people waste it on worrying, gossiping, comparing, scrolling, replaying the past, and anticipating problems that don't even exist yet. Each thought, each distraction drains a little more life from your creative potential. Meanwhile, the people who seem unstoppable are not necessarily more talented, they're just ruthless with focus. They direct their energy toward their vision and refuse to feed the noise. They've trained their minds like athletes train their bodies. Focus is a muscle. It grows through repetition and challenge. Every time you catch yourself drifting and bring your attention back to your goal, you strengthen it. Every time you stay calm under stress, you reinforce it. Every time you choose purpose over distraction, you claim a little more mastery over your own energy. You can't control everything that happens, but you can control what gets your focus. That choice alone changes everything. When you look at your life right now, you're looking at a mirror of your past focus. The relationships you have, the income you earn, the body you live in, they are all effects of what you've given attention to. Change your focus and the entire trajectory shifts. It may not happen overnight, but it will happen inevitably because the universe doesn't respond to wishful thinking. It responds to consistent focus charged with emotion. The beauty of this truth is its simplicity. You don't have to fight the old or fix every problem. You just have to redirect your focus. Wherever you place your attention, you place your creative power. Every time you choose gratitude over frustration, clarity over confusion, purpose over comfort, your energy expands. That expansion draws in more of what aligns with it. It's a loop. Focus creates energy, energy magnifies focus, and together they build reality. When you understand that energy flows where focus goes, you begin to live intentionally. You stop letting the outside world dictate your attention. You choose what matters. You learn to quiet the noise, to turn inward, to align your focus with what you truly value. In that alignment lies freedom. Because the moment you control your focus, you control your energy. And when you control your energy, you control your life. Your standards shape your destiny. Every outcome in your life, every level of success or struggle, every joy or frustration is a reflection of what you've chosen to tolerate. You don't get what you want, you get what you're willing to settle for. Standards are the invisible boundaries that determine how you think, act, and respond to life. They define what's acceptable and what's not, what you demand from yourself and what you allow from others. The difference between those who thrive and those who survive is not talent, luck, or opportunity. It's the standard they refuse to compromise. Think about the areas of your life that are thriving. You likely have high standards there. You expect excellence from yourself and you won't settle for less. Maybe it's your work ethic, your health, or your personal integrity. You've drawn a line in the sand and said, this is who I am. Now, think about the areas where you struggle. In those areas, your standards are probably flexible. You've allowed comfort to replace commitment, excuses to replace effort, and temporary relief to replace long-term fulfillment. Life will always meet you at your minimum standard, not your maximum desire. Your standards are not what you say, they're what you live. You can say, I want to be fit, but if your standard allows you to skip workouts and eat junk whenever you're stressed, that desire is meaningless. You can say, I want financial freedom, but if your standard allows procrastination, disorganization, or overspending, freedom remains a fantasy. Words don't shape your destiny, standards do. They dictate your daily choices, and your daily choices shape your identity. Once something becomes part of your identity, it becomes automatic. That's why raising your standards isn't about willpower. It's about deciding who you are and refusing to violate that decision. Every transformation starts with a decision to raise a standard, not a vague wish, but a defining moment where you say, never again. Never again will I let fear decide my future. Never again will I accept less than I'm capable of. Never again will I stay in environments that drain my spirit. That decision creates a shift in identity, and that identity reshapes behavior. Once you see yourself as someone who holds higher standards, your choices begin to align naturally. You don't have to push yourself endlessly. You're pulled by who you've become. Low standards breed frustration because they attract low energy, low results, and low quality experiences. When you tolerate chaos, you invite more of it. When you tolerate disrespect, you teach others how to treat you. When you tolerate mediocrity, you slowly disconnect from your potential. Every time you accept something beneath your true capacity, you weaken your self-trust. You send yourself a message that says, I'm not worth more than this. Over time, that message becomes your reality. The opposite is also true. When you demand more from yourself, even when it's uncomfortable, you send a signal that you're capable, worthy, and strong. That signal compounds. It rewires your psychology for excellence. Raising your standards doesn't mean perfection. It means progress. It means you no longer accept habits, thoughts, or environments that keep you small. It means you stop negotiating with your excuses. Most people think standards are external rules, but they're internal agreements. When you break your own standards, you erode confidence. When you keep them, even when no one's watching, you build self-respect. Confidence is not built by success alone, it's built by consistency with your standards. Every time you honor your word, you reinforce the belief that you can trust yourself, and that trust becomes the foundation of power. Look around at anyone who inspires you, the artists, athletes, leaders, and innovators who seem to operate on a different level. They didn't get there because they had better opportunities. They got there because they had higher standards. They refused to accept average. They held themselves accountable when no one else did. They demanded excellence even in private moments when it would have been easier to coast. Their standards shape their habits shape their results, and their results shape their destiny. You can admire their success, but if you want to experience it, you must adopt their discipline of standards. Every time you decide to raise your standard, resistance appears. The mind rebels because it wants comfort. Comfort is safe, predictable, and familiar. But destiny lives outside comfort. When you set a higher standard, you challenge your identity. The old version of you will try to pull you back. It will whisper, you don't need to push this hard, or you've done enough. That's not truth, that's conditioning. You have to train yourself to associate discomfort with growth. The moment you embrace that your standards begin to harden, what once felt impossible becomes normal. What once required effort becomes automatic. That's how evolution happens, not by wishing for better, but by demanding better until it becomes your new baseline. Your environment mirrors your standards. If you surround yourself with people who settle, you'll find it easier to settle too. If you surround yourself with people who expect more from themselves, your energy rises to match theirs. This is why community matters. Your circle should challenge you, not comfort you. It should pull you upward, not validate your excuses. The energy of high standards is contagious. When you see someone living with integrity, discipline, and passion, it reminds you of what's possible. That reminder awakens your own standards. There's a moment in every person's life where they realize that change doesn't come from waiting for the right time. It comes from demanding a higher level of self-respect. You stop tolerating lateness, laziness, and indecision. You stop chasing validation and start chasing growth. You stop saying, I hope it works out, and start saying, I'll make it work. That's the shift. The moment you expect more from yourself than anyone else ever could, your destiny begins to transform. Life rises to meet the energy you bring to it. Your standards also shape your emotional life. If your standard is to stay calm under pressure, you won't let stress control you. If your standard is to find gratitude even in difficulty, you won't drown in negativity. Emotional mastery begins with emotional standards. Decide how you will show up regardless of circumstance. Decide what kind of energy you bring to challenges. The more consistent you are, the more grounded and powerful you become. Your standards are like gravity. They pull everything toward their level. Relationships, finances, health, mindset, all of it eventually matches your baseline. If you want to change your destiny, stop trying to fix the symptoms and raise the baseline. Stop managing problems and start managing standards. When your standard becomes, I don't quit, then quitting stops being an option. When your standard becomes, I give my best no matter what, then excellence becomes your identity. Standards remove negotiation, they create certainty. It's not about setting unrealistic expectations. It's about aligning your daily behavior with the version of you that already lives the life you want. That version of you has habits, language, and energy that reflect higher standards. When you adopt those, the gap between who you are and who you want to be begins to close. You don't have to force success. You have to become the kind of person success naturally follows. The higher your standards, the fewer compromises you make, and the fewer compromises you make, the clearer your path becomes. Every great turning point in human history began when someone raised the standard, when they said, "This is no longer acceptable." That's how progress happens personally and collectively. One person raises the bar and others follow. The world doesn't change because of opinions, it changes because of standards. Those who hold them, live them, and embody them become the blueprint for what's possible. Raising your standards is not a one-time act, it's a lifelong discipline. You will be tested again and again to see if you truly mean it. Each challenge will tempt you to lower your standard, to take the easy path to settle for comfort. But every time you refuse, you evolve. Every time you say, "No, this is my line," you strengthen your destiny, because destiny doesn't respond to wishes. It responds to standards. Emotion is the force that drives action. Logic may direct your steps, but emotion determines whether you move at all. Every decision you've ever made, every risk you've taken, every opportunity you've missed was driven not by pure reason, but by the emotional state you were in at that moment. Emotion is the spark behind every movement of human behavior. It's what fuels courage, persistence, and passion, and it's also what triggers fear, hesitation, and retreat. You can have the best strategy in the world, but if your emotional state doesn't support it, you'll never follow through. Emotion is energy in motion. It's not something that happens to you, it's something that flows through you. It's a force that can either empower or imprison you, depending on how you use it. When you're inspired, determined, or grateful, you move differently. Your posture changes, your voice strengthens, and your presence expands. The world responds to that energy. But when you're trapped in doubt, anger, or anxiety, your energy contracts. You hesitate, your mind fogs, and your actions lose power. That's why mastering emotion is the foundation of mastering life. Most people let emotion control them instead of learning to direct it. They wait to feel motivated before taking action, not realizing that emotion follows motion. Action creates emotion, not the other way around. The moment you change your physiology, your breathing, your focus, your language, you change your state. You've seen it before. A song lifts your mood. A workout reignites your drive. A moment of gratitude shifts frustration into peace. These are not coincidences. They're examples of how emotion can be consciously shaped. Your emotional state determines what you notice, what you believe, and what you do. When you're angry, you see proof of injustice everywhere. When you're excited, you see opportunity in everything. Emotion filters reality. It decides what information your mind pays attention to and what it ignores. If your emotions are low, even simple challenges look overwhelming. If your emotions are high, even obstacles look like stepping stones. Emotion colors perception, and perception drives behavior. Every leader, athlete, or achiever who sustains greatness has learned one skill above all others: the ability to shift emotional states quickly. They don't wait for the perfect conditions to feel confident. They generate confidence on demand. They don't wait for calm to appear before taking action. They create calm through focus and preparation. Emotion becomes a tool instead of a trap. They've learned that the secret to consistency is emotional control, because when you can control how you feel, you can control how you act, no matter what happens around you. There are two types of emotional patterns: reactive and intentional. Reactive emotions are those you let the world create for you. Something goes wrong and you feel angry. Someone rejects you and you feel worthless. You hand your power to circumstance. Intentional emotions, on the other hand, are emotions you generate consciously. You decide to feel gratitude, confidence, or determination regardless of the situation. You train your nervous system to operate from a chosen state rather than a triggered one. That shift from reaction to creation is what separates average lives from extraordinary ones. Emotion is also the link between knowledge and action. People know what to do but don't do what they know because the emotional intensity isn't high enough. They know they should save money, eat healthy, exercise, or communicate better, but knowing doesn't change behavior. Emotion does. It's emotion that creates urgency, and urgency drives movement. Without emotion, knowledge remains potential. With emotion, potential turns into power. That's why the fastest way to change your life is not by gathering more information. It's by changing the emotional meaning of what you already know. Every emotion serves a purpose. Fear protects, anger alerts, sadness releases, joy expands, love connects. The goal is not to eliminate emotion, but to understand and channel it. When you repress emotion, it festers. You express it intelligently, it transforms. Most people suppress their feelings because they've learned that emotion is weakness, but emotion is not weakness, it's raw energy. The key is direction. Fire can destroy or it can forge. Emotion works the same way. It can burn you down or build you stronger. The power lies in your ability to guide it. If you want to change your life, you must first learn to master your emotional home, the feelings you return to most often. Every person has an emotional set point, a familiar range of emotions they live in daily. Some people's home is frustration, others live in curiosity or gratitude. The external world may change, but they always come back to their emotional baseline. Your job is to raise that baseline. That means conditioning yourself to spend more time in empowering emotions than disempowering ones. The more you live in courage, gratitude, and determination, the more naturally your actions reflect strength. Your emotions are also contagious. The energy you bring into a room affects everyone in it. When you walk in with certainty, people feel it. When you walk in with doubt, people sense it. Emotion communicates before words do. That's why leaders must master their emotional state. They set the tone for everyone around them. Families, teams, and organizations rise or fall to the emotional level of their leaders. If you project chaos, you multiply chaos. If you project calm strength, you multiply confidence. Emotional leadership starts with emotional mastery. Physiology is one of the fastest ways to shift emotion. The body and mind are inseparable. Stand tall, breathe deeply, move with purpose, and your emotions follow. Slouch, breathe shallow, move sluggishly, and your emotions decline. You can't feel powerful in a powerless posture. You can't feel inspired while breathing like you're anxious. The body leads the mind as much as the mind leads the body. That's why changing your state begins with movement. The moment you move differently, your emotions recalibrate. Focus is another key to emotional control. Whatever you focus on, you feel. If you focus on what's missing, you'll feel lack. If you focus on what's possible, you'll feel hope. Emotion and focus are inseparable. To master emotion, you must master attention. You must train your mind to look for what strengthens you instead of what weakens you. That doesn't mean ignoring problems. It means choosing to focus on solutions, lessons, and growth. Emotion follows meaning, and meaning is created by focus. Language is the third lever of emotional mastery. The words you use to describe your experience shape how you feel about it. Say, I'm devastated, and your body collapses. Say, I'm challenged, and you feel resourceful. The difference is only language, but language changes emotion, and emotion changes action. This is why powerful people use empowering language. They don't deny difficulty, but they frame it in a way that gives them strength. Every time you change your words, you change your state. Emotion is also the foundation of connection. People don't remember what you said, they remember how you made them feel. Emotion builds trust, influence, and love. Whether you're leading a team, raising a family, or building a dream, your ability to connect emotionally determines your impact. You can have logic without love, but it won't move hearts. You can have facts without feeling, but it won't inspire change. Emotion bridges minds. It transforms information into transformation. To master emotion is to master direction. Instead of being pushed by fear, you're pulled by purpose. Instead of reacting to pressure, you respond with power. You stop being a slave to moods and become the creator of states. You learn to use emotion as fuel instead of friction. Every great performance, every act of courage, every story of transformation began with an emotional decision. Someone felt enough pain to change or enough passion to rise. Pain and passion are two sides of the same force. Both are emotional energy waiting for direction. You can't always control what emotions arise, but you can always control how long you live in them. Let emotion flow through you, learn from it, and move it forward. Don't suppress it and don't drown in it. Acknowledge, express it, and use it. When fear shows up, let it sharpen focus. When anger appears, let it fuel resolve. When joy arrives, let it deepen gratitude. Every emotion carries power. Every emotion can serve growth if you harness it consciously. Emotion is the heartbeat of human experience. It's what turns existence into aliveness, effort into excellence, survival into purpose. The people who achieve the most, love the deepest, and live the fullest are not those who avoid emotion, but those who master it. They feel deeply, channel deliberately, and act decisively. Emotion doesn't control them. It drives them toward creation, expansion, and contribution. Alignment with universal law creates unstoppable momentum. Every force in the universe follows order, rhythm, and balance. Planets orbit in harmony, tides rise and fall in sequence, seeds grow into trees according to their design. There is no chaos in nature that is not rooted in deeper order. The same law governs your life when your thoughts, emotions, and actions are aligned with universal principles. Truth, integrity, purpose. Momentum begins to build effortlessly. You move from struggle to flow, from resistance to rhythm. The world responds not to your wishes, but to your alignment. Alignment means everything within you is moving in the same direction. Your mind believes, your heart feels, and your actions reflect that belief. Most people live out of alignment. They want success but fear failure, crave love but doubt their worth, seek growth but cling to comfort. They send mixed signals to the universe. One step forward, one step back. This internal contradiction creates friction. The result is stagnation, frustration, and exhaustion. But when you align your inner world, energy flows freely. There is no wasted motion, no conflicting intention. You become a single, unified force moving with the current of life instead of against it. Universal law operates beyond opinion or circumstance. It doesn't bend to mood or emotion. It responds to vibration and consistency. Just as gravity pulls everything toward the earth regardless of belief, universal law responds to the energy you emit regardless of excuses. When your energy matches your intention, you activate a power that amplifies everything you do. It's not luck and it's not coincidence, it's resonance. Alignment is resonance with truth. When you live in truth, you stop forcing outcomes and start attracting them. Momentum begins where resistance ends. Resistance comes from conflict between what you want and what you believe, between what you say and what you do. The universe cannot deliver clarity to contradiction. You can't manifest abundance while rehearsing scarcity. You can't attract peace while feeding anger. Every thought and emotion carries a frequency, and frequencies either reinforce or cancel each other. Alignment is coherence, when your thoughts, emotions, and actions vibrate together. When that happens, the universe mirrors your inner coherence with external flow. Opportunities appear, timing synchronizes, doors open. Alignment also means integrity, not just moral integrity, but energetic integrity. Integrity means your word, your intention, and your behavior match. When you say one thing and do another, you create energetic dissonance. That dissonance disrupts momentum. You can't build steady progress on inconsistency. The universe reads frequency, not fantasy. When you say, I want change, but continue acting from the same patterns, your vibration stays the same, and so do your results. Integrity creates stability. Stability creates flow. Flow creates momentum. Every great creator, thinker, or visionary you admire lived in alignment with something larger than themselves. They didn't chase trends or approval. They followed principle. They aligned with their purpose, their truth, and their mission. Because of that, their energy multiplied beyond individual effort. They tapped into the same law that moves the stars, the same intelligence that breathes through nature. When your purpose aligns with contribution rather than just consumption, life begins to support you. People call it divine timing or synchronicity, but it's simply alignment in action. When you're aligned, effort feels different. You still work hard, but it doesn't feel like struggle. You wake up with direction instead of confusion, drive instead of dread. There's clarity behind your decisions because you're no longer split internally. That's why aligned people seem magnetic. Their energy has direction. They radiate certainty, and certainty creates trust. Others feel drawn to them without understanding why. It's because alignment is the purest form of power. It communicates silently through presence. Alignment is not perfection. It's harmony between intention and action. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to be honest about where you stand and consistent about where you're going. The moment you lie to yourself, deny your truth, or compromise your values, momentum stops. The universe doesn't punish dishonesty. It simply can't support confusion. When your frequency is scattered, your results are scattered. Clarity and integrity restore alignment. That's why self-awareness is essential. You can't align what you refuse to acknowledge. The law of alignment works through feedback. Life constantly mirrors your internal state. When things flow easily, it's confirmation that you're aligned. When things feel stuck, it's not failure, it's feedback. It's the universe showing you that something in your energy, belief, or focus is off balance. Most people interpret obstacles as punishment, but they're actually invitations to realignment. Every challenge carries a message. Look inward, adjust, and move forward with greater coherence. The moment you correct the inner cause, the outer effect shifts automatically. Momentum built through alignment is exponential. At first, it's subtle, a sense of clarity, a spark of inspiration, a small win. But because energy compounds, each aligned action fuels the next. You start to experience flow, ideas come faster. People appear at the right time. Resources find you instead of you chasing them. That's the power of synergy when your internal rhythm matches the rhythm of life itself. You move from efforting to expressing, from chasing to attracting, from surviving to expanding. To stay aligned, you must learn to listen. To your intuition, to your body, to the signals life sends. The mind analyzes, but alignment is felt. You feel it when you're doing something that resonates deeply. Time disappears, energy rises, creativity flows. You feel it when something is off too. Your body tightens, your enthusiasm fades, resistance grows. Those sensations are guidance. The more you trust that inner feedback, the easier it becomes to stay on course. Alignment is not found through thinking harder, but through tuning deeper. The greatest barrier to alignment is fear. Fear separates thought from action, desire from belief. It splits you into fragments, one part reaching forward, another holding back. To dissolve fear, you must reconnect to faith, not blind faith, but faith in law and order and cause and effect. When you remember that the universe operates with precision, that every cause produces an effect, fear begins to fade. You realize you're not walking alone, you're walking with principle. And principle never fails. Alignment with universal law requires surrender, not in the sense of giving up, but in the sense of letting go of resistance. Surrender means trusting the process. It means knowing when to act and when to allow. Momentum isn't built by pushing harder, it's built by aligning deeper. When your energy is clean, your focus clear, and your intention pure, even small actions produce massive results. Misaligned effort, no matter how intense, leads to burnout. Aligned effort, even when minimal, creates expansion. The universe rewards alignment with acceleration. Once you're in flow, things start to compound. You meet the right people at the right moment, your timing improves, and your ideas translate into impact faster than before. It feels as though something greater is carrying you forward because something is. You've synchronized with universal law. You've stepped into rhythm with creation itself. Life doesn't resist you anymore because you're no longer resisting life. To live in alignment, you must also release what no longer resonates. Old beliefs, toxic environments, negative patterns, they all carry frequencies that pull you out of rhythm. Alignment requires pruning. You can't rise while holding on to what's heavy. Every time you let go of something that no longer serves your growth, you make room for momentum to return. Detachment isn't loss, it's alignment through clarity. The more aligned you become, the less external validation you need. You stop measuring progress by comparison and start measuring it by coherence, how true you feel to yourself. Peace replaces pressure. Focus replaces confusion. Because in alignment, even challenges feel purpose. So you understand that everything unfolding is part of the larger order guiding you toward expansion. The friction you face isn't punishment, it's refinement. Each test polishes your integrity and strengthens your alignment. Alignment with universal law doesn't guarantee an easy path, it guarantees a meaningful one. It doesn't remove challenge, but it ensures growth through every challenge. It doesn't hand you success, it aligns you with the vibration that naturally produces it. When you act from alignment, you no longer chase momentum, it becomes a byproduct of who you are. Momentum is not something you force, it's something you become when everything within you moves in one direction, guided by truth, fueled by purpose, and anchored in the unshakable rhythm of universal law.